Now that the NBA lockout has finally settled, we have Knicks basketball again. Training camp here at the MSG Training Center in Greenburgh, New York, with Knicks beat writer extraordinaire Mark Berman. I'm Mark Hale, as we talk about our first video of the Knicks 2011-12 season, lockout shortened season, but it should be an exciting one for fans as the preseason gets set to start tomorrow against the Nets. And Mark, let's start with today's news of the day, which is Sean Williams, valuable reserve last season, looks like he's going to the Nets, and the Knicks lose a piece.
Yeah, a little shocking. Sean really loved it here in New York City. Great friends with Amari Stoudemire, fit in perfectly.
Right.
But for the same offer, he took the Nets. He wanted the bigger role. He could be a starter there. It's a crowded rotation with the Knicks, and he just thought his career would take off in New Jersey. Big blow for the Knicks because they need bench help, especially now at the start of the season. Billy Walker, has a groin pull. He has missed the last 3 practices. Depth is an issue again, as it was after the Carmelo trade last February.
Yeah, I mean, even if Williams came back, we could probably make the argument that the bench still might need to be augmented. Now they don't have Williams, so they're looking at what I guess they have: Bibby, Walker, Shumpert, and Jared Jeffries. I mean, they might need some reinforcements, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still looking at some guys, Maurice Evans, Michael Redd, who's coming off 2 straight knee surgeries. People I spoke to said we just may have to stand pat with what we have. They're really talking up Iman Shumpert, their first-round pick. He really does look good in scrimmages, very dynamic, a defender, and he can shoot the 3. So a lot's going to be asked of a rookie, though, early on. Let's
talk a little bit more about Shumpert, Mark. I mean, they took him with their first-round pick last year. We saw kind of this past year with the NFL lockouts that could affect rookies a little bit. Do you think that this lockout hurts Shumpert? Will he be ready to be a contributor?
I mean, he looks ready from scrimmages, but when the lights go on, you never know. We'll know a lot tomorrow in the exhibition game against the Nets, how he performs. But you missed that Las Vegas Summer League, which is so important. It's a week out in Vegas, playing against other NBA rookies and second-year players. And then he misses the whole summer of working with the coaching staff on stuff. He wasn't even allowed to talk to the coaching staff. He spent his summer, writing a diary for the New York Post.
That's right, as he should have.
Yes.
Right. Following the example of last year's rookie, Landry Field. Mark, let's talk about the point guard situation a little bit. They obviously don't have Chauncey Billups anymore, and Chauncey's now in LA with Chris Paul and the Clippers. So it looks like Tony Douglas is your guy here, but they also have Bibby, and is there a chance that maybe Baron Davis or somebody else would come in as well?
The Davis situation is a mystery. He got amnestied by Cleveland, and he's got to pass through these waivers for him to become a free agent. The agent keeps saying his back is a major issue, could be a couple of months, but the Knicks are willing to wait, give him the veterans minimum and have him rehab, and then he could be back in March. I think a lot depends on what Tony Douglas looks like. They're not thrilled with how Tony runs the offense. He's a good defender, pretty decent shooter, but as a point guard, you got to be able to read defenses on a nightly basis. It's an issue. Bibby could be all washed up. He looked terrible in the finals against Miami. A lot of people think he's shot, and defensively he's not good. Offensively, he can help him a little.
With Douglas, I mean, we saw him start games a little bit last year when Chauncey Billups was hurt, and he seemed to play pretty well. But is there a fear that maybe that wouldn't translate to a full season?
Exactly. I mean, I think in that 8-game stretch or 7-game stretch when Billups went down, he had some spectacular games. But, when you're facing different types of defenses each night, and, it's going to be 4 games in 5 nights a lot, they're very worried that he's not going to be able to be consistent. He's streaky. He's an erratic player, as going into the season. I like him. I think he's a great defender, but is he a competent starting point guard in the NBA in his 3rd season? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's explosive, but not necessarily that consistency that you want out of the point guard position. Mario, the last thing is tomorrow, as we talked about, there's the first preseason game. It's the first time we'll see basketball in a long time. Knicks versus Nets. What are maybe 1 or 2 of the things that you're most curious about to see now that they'll finally be on the court?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see Tyson on the court and see how he changes the defense. Amare says that it's night and day with their defensive approach. Mike Woodson has simplified the defense. He's installed some, basic strategies, and they're getting better every day. But Tyson in the middle, rebounding, blocking shots, altering shots, cleaning up the offensive glass. You know, he doesn't need the ball. You know, on the offense, Amare and Carmelo and, you know, Douglas can take the shots, and there's Chandler trying to keep the ball alive. I'm really looking forward to see what Chandler, his addition, brings to this club.
All right, Knicks and Nets, they'll tip it off tomorrow afternoon, and obviously the first time we'll see Knicks basketball in about 6 months, more than 6 months actually, since last year's playoff ended with the 4-game sweep for the Celtics. You can read Mark every day in the Post or check him out on nypost.com, or you can follow him on Twitter at nypost_Berman. You can follow me on Twitter at HailMark. For Mark, I'm Mark. We'll talk to you soon from the Knicks.